So today on the episode, we're going to be talking about stretching before and after workouts and stubborn belly fat. Welcome to episode 2 of EFS TV. I'm Nathaniel Decker, along here with
Megan Osisco.
And we're very excited about today's episode. We got a huge amount of questions for Megan to dig through. We're trying to figure out, what do we think you guys would take the most from? What questions would you benefit from the most on our second episode here? So we did go through those. We've come up with, I believe, 4 or 5 questions that we're going to go over today. And hopefully our answers will help you guys out and you guys can keep those coming. So with that, we're going to get right into it.
Alrighty. So Anna asks, when and how often should you stretch, before or after workouts?
That's a good question, and I have a different take. I guess you worded it a little different when we talked about it before, but I personally always have clients warm up before a workout and stretch after. So the warm up is very important. I usually stick to the basics, the jumping jacks, different plyometric exercises, high knees, things like that. And then after the workout, more of the static stretching. So what is your take on that? How do you usually do it?
Yeah, I definitely promote dynamic stretching beforehand. So doing, like you said, a little bit of jogging, jumping jacks, just kind of getting the heart rate up, body warmed up.
Okay.
Then you hit your workout, and then same thing after, kind of go into that static stretching, longer holds, that kind of stuff.
Right. I remember when I first got into training, I actually came across an article that was talking about muscles acting a lot like a rubber band. So it talked about the disadvantage that people have of stretching before a workout statically. So if you are stretching your quads a lot before you go for a run or any heavy resistance exercise, that stretching and then contracting and then stretching, contracting is actually really bad for your muscles. That's just something that I came across whenever I got into training. I've always stuck to that method. I'm sure there's been a million other publications since then that say otherwise because fitness is an ever-evolving industry. However, stick to what works for you, obviously, but I think the dynamic stretching in the beginning and then the static stretching after works best.
All right. Laurel actually has 2 for us.
Awesome.
So, what is the proper technique for a squat? How much cardio should you do for each workout if you're doing weight training as well?
Okay. We'll get into the squat a little bit. We're actually probably going to post a quick video of how to do a squat. I'm sure Gunnar will throw that up here in a second. I'll walk you through it though. It's very important. There's a few key factors to any squat that someone's doing to have correct form. So number 1 is having your knees behind your toes and sitting your hips back like you're sitting in a chair. And then also chest up so that your back stays flat. What else would you add to that if you can think of anything?
Also keeping your heels down on the ground. Don't want to roll up to your toes so that you're really activating your glutes and hamstrings in that squat.
Yeah, and then another thing to add to that, maybe point your toes a little bit outward. That helps you engage your hamstrings and your glutes a little bit more as well. And then otherwise, that's pretty much it for a good squat. As far as feet distance, width, I'd say shoulder width, maybe a little bit further. Not too much wider than that, but definitely not more narrow than that because it's bad for your knees. So. Cool. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And then what else did she ask here?
So she asked, how much cardio should you do each workout if you're doing weight training as well?
Yeah, and I think that really depends on your goals. I'm sure you're probably going to say the same thing, but it depends on what your goal is. I personally, if I'm trying to lose some weight, I'll throw in some cardio after resistance training, which is very important. Do not do cardio first. But doing cardio after resistance training workout, 20 to 30 minutes is usually all I do. Now, people with more aggressive goals can stand to do a little bit longer, but then your diet comes into play with that too, keeping your energy levels up and things of that nature. But what would you add to that?
I would say definitely post-workout, post-lifting would be intervals. So higher intensity and then letting your heart rate come back down and then kicking it right back up again. So that's always been a pretty good success for me and my clients.
Cool. Yeah, and the reason that I say to do the cardio after a resistance workout, now this is something just in personal experience. With a lot of people, especially if you're new to resistance training, the last thing you want to do is tire yourself out before the workout because then you're going to struggle with form, and then that obviously is the most important part of resistance training is the form. And then just your energy levels being down, you're using up
a lot. You're dipping into those muscles that you're trying to build up.
Exactly. So whenever you are exercising, you're obviously using calories from food for energy. But once you start to burn through that, then you start to go, the easiest place for your body to get energy other than food is actually muscle tissue. So it's in ATP cells. So you don't want to start breaking down muscle during your resistance training because you already burned through your calories doing running, if that makes sense. So
Cool.
just one trainer's take, by the way.
Alrighty, Kelsey asks, what are your tips for setup on a sumo deadlift?
Sumo deadlifting. Glad to see you're doing those, by the way, Kelsey. You know, the advice that I could give you on that without having a barbell here to actually do a video for you, body mechanics are very important whenever you talk about power movements. It's something that whenever you read a lot of articles, they talk about sweet spots and firing as fast as you can to get it off the floor, which is very important in that particular lift. But you always want to be very, very mindful of where your shoulders are in relation to your knees and your toes. Your shoulders should always be over your knees at all times. So as you're standing back up and your knees are coming back, your shoulders are coming back at the same time. That's very important, but whenever they talk about the sweet spot in a lot of articles and things like that you'll read, that's exactly what they're addressing. It feels the best whenever your body's working the best or at its most advantageous angles, if that's the right word.
Yeah. Anything I would add to that would be just making sure your back shoulders are plugged back, nice flat back, a little bit of arch in it so that you're not rounding it, because then that's going to really cause some lower back pain, which we don't want.
Very true. And then one more thing to add to that too, because I did read about starting with the bar out in front of you. Very bad idea. The further you get the bar away from you, the more pressure you're going to be putting on your lower back. So it's important to make sure that your shoulders are starting over your knees, and then you want to start with the bar just over your toes. And that's it's about all the advice I've got on that one. I did read as well, though, if you want to increase your weight that you're doing in the sumo deadlift, to do Romanian sumo deadlifts, which is not going all the way to the floor. You're stopping about 3 inches short, right back up. You're obviously using less weight for that, but it will help you with grip strength, lower back, lat engagement, things of that nature. So, good question.
Nice. Alrighty, and last we have Kim. She asks, I'm trying to lose weight in my belly. Are there any specific workouts I can do to help lose and maintain in my midsection?
That is a good question. I'm going to give you my take, and then I want to hear yours and see if it's any different.
Okay.
Cool? So whenever I get that question from clients of, how can I lose in my midsection? My first point to all of our clients or anybody that ever asked that question to me is that we're not surgeons. We don't spot reduce. It's not something that is
spot train.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something that we can specifically target. However, if you are looking to lose belly fat, obviously calorie restrictions are going to be important. You need to address your diet. Everybody, I think, needs to do that that's focusing on the midsection. And then resistance training is going to help you build more muscle. It's going to help you burn more calories and help you lose the weight a little bit faster. But what would you add to that, if anything?
I mean, adding in definitely some higher intensity cardio, I think. Like we were talking about in the question with Laurel, doing more interval stuff after you do your strength training to kind of increase that metabolism as well.
Right. Yeah, and it's really tough with the midsection because training your abs isn't necessarily going to give you abs. Right. You use your abs in your lower back all day just to hold you upright. So the endurance in those muscles is typically a little bit better than some of the other muscle groups that you have. That being said, losing, it's always a calorie game. At the end of the day, it's a calorie in, calorie out game. And we're going to need to make sure that you're eating the right calories, obviously, and then burning those calories, like you said, with the high intensity interval training. Resistance training always helps, so it'll help keep you toned along the way. But other than that, just working out in general and staying consistent.
Consistency, yes.
That's the biggest point is consistency to everybody. I mean, if you can stay consistent with any workout, it's going to work to some degree. Now, you're going to hit plateaus with some workouts, and you need to change that up. And, we'd be more than happy to help you whenever you get to that point. But consistency is going to be the main point there. So
yeah, totally agree.
So that wraps up the questions that we have for today. We do want you guys to keep firing those out, though, and try to give us some stumpers. We really did sit down and talk about these a little bit. These ones are pretty easy, but they are, people need to know the answers to these questions, and we've heard these ones a lot. That's why we went with these. But I did want to mention we do have our Fit Challenge starting April 1st. Registration has opened for that already.
Yeah, you guys just need to check out our social media. It's posted on there, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Invite friends and family. The better support you guys have, the better success you're going to have with it. So, get everyone joined in on that and sign up. Starts
And
April 1st.
And you guys will see on the ad too, there are prizes for 30 days, 90 days, and then a 6-month as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really cool. We're trying to get as many people involved with that as possible. And yeah, get out there and register for it. So Gunnar will throw that up now. Nice job, Gunnar. Yeah, and that wraps up today's show. And we'll move on to our recipe of the week, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.